This is our third Stargate video, and as 90s kids, I have to say that we are a bit more attached to this franchise, a little bit biased to it because we lived through the first season, when we were 7 back then. And I can say that we are a bit more attached to this than more recent sci-fi universes. So aside from the biggest Stargate ships and the most powerful ships that we have already uploaded, here are the Tauri ships, the Battlecruisers, the BCs, ranked from the least to the most advanced ones. Let's get to it. So we begin with the least advanced one, the Prometheus, the genesis of Earth's Battlecruiser. So this began as an experimental X-303 project, the very first real starship ever built by the Tauri or humans of Earth in the world of Stargate SG-1. It was designed mainly by Earth scientists and engineers, with Major Samantha Carter helping a lot with the project. The ship was secretly built in Nevada at Area 51, using a mix of human engineering and reverse-engineered Goa'uld technology. At first, the X-303 was still unfinished and had many problems, including an unstable Naquadria-powered hyperdrive that could only travel between nearby stars. The ship itself was about 195 meters long and was built using a strong Naquadra trinium alloy hull. It had sublight engines, maneuvering thrusters, Earth-made targeting computers, navigation systems, even transportation rings of the Goa'uld, and at least 16 escape pods. Its weapons were powerful for early Tauri technology, carrying 24 railguns, 12 missile launch tubes, cruise missiles, and the Mark 9 nuclear warheads, which are enhanced by the Naquadra. The Prometheus became Earth's first true battlecruiser and proved that humanity could finally build and operate a real interstellar warship. Over time, the Asgard became impressed with Earth's efforts and helped upgrade the Prometheus after the Tauri assisted them against the replicators. The Asgard replaced the old unreliable hyperdrive with a much advanced Asgard hyperdrive that allowed the ship to travel between galaxies instead of just star systems. They also installed powerful Asgard shields and an advanced Asgard sensor array, which made the ship much harder to destroy or to even damage and much better at detecting enemies. They also added an Asgard transporter system, which allowed people and equipment to be beamed across great distances instantly. However, the Asgard refused to give Earth their beam weapons here, so the Prometheus still relied most on railguns and nuclear missiles for combat. Even with these upgrades, the ship still had limitations compared to other later battlecruisers. But still, the Prometheus was extremely important because it laid the foundation for all future Tauri starships and marked the moment humanity officially became a space-faring military power in the Stargate universe. So the next evolution is the BC-304. So these were also called the Daedalus class battlecruisers, and they were the next generation of Tauri warships. Unlike the Prometheus, which depended heavily on reverse-engineered gold systems and experimental technology, the BC-304 was designed from the beginning with advanced Asgard technology already built into the ship. This made this class far more powerful, far more reliable, and capable of traveling across entire galaxies. The BC-304 measured around 225 meters long and was protected by a strong Naquadra trinium alloy with advanced Asgard shields, and it used maneuvering systems like thrusters, sublight engines, and an Asgard hyperdrive that could cross intergalactic distances in only a few days. The ship was powered by Naquadra generators, and later versions also included powerful Asgard power cores. Each ship of this class carried advanced Asgard sensors, even Earth targeting systems, computer navigation systems, transportation systems, and space for 8 to 16 F-302 fighter interceptors. The BC-304s were heavily armed and became the strongest regular warships in Earth's fleet. Early versions mainly relied on 32 railguns, 16 missile launch tubes, cruise missiles, and the powerful Mark 3, 8, and 9 nuclear warheads. At first, the Asgard refused to share their own technology, but in 2007, they finally gave the Tauri advanced Asgard plasma beam weapons. These beam cannons were incredibly powerful and allowed the BC-304s to destroy enemy motherships much more easily than before. There were 6 ships of this class that were constructed and operated by the humans of Earth, by the Tauri, but they were not equals, as some of them had unique subsystems and weapons that were different from the, let's say, baseline version. And basing it off of this, we will rank the Daedalus class ships from the least to the most advanced or the most powerful. At the bottom we have the Korolev, which was considered the least advanced of the 6 BC-304 battlecruisers, mainly because it entered service too early. It was rushed to service and never received many of the later upgrades that the other ships had. Even though it still had the standard baseline BC-304 systems, it lacked many of the special systems that later ships gained over time. The Korolev likely never received even the powerful Asgard plasma beam weapons that became one of the biggest improvements to the class. The main reason we say this was because when they noticed the fluctuations in the shielding of the Ori ships, instead of using plasma weapons to hit them, they resorted to teleporting nukes into the enemy vessel. Another reason it stayed less advanced was because the ship was rushed into service during the Ori War and handed over to Russia as part of a political agreement involving the Stargate program, access to the Alpha Gate. Sadly, the ship was destroyed during the Battle of P3Y229 almost immediately after joining the war, which meant that it never had a chance to evolve into a more advanced version. Above the Korolev was the Tzu, which was considered the least or the second least advanced BC-304, because while it did include the standard late model BC-304 systems like the Asgard plasma beam weapons, Asgard shields, the hyperdrive, sensors and all the rest, it still lacked many of the most specialized and high-end systems seen in the most advanced ships of the class. In many ways, the Tzu appeared to have been a fairly standard production model of the Battlecruisers rather than a heavily customized flagship like the Odyssey or the George Hammond. Another reason that it ranks lower was because the ship never demonstrated any unique technological breakthrough or exceptional combat advantages during its service. During the battle against the massive Wraith superhive in 2009, the Tzu was overwhelmed very quickly, suffering damage so severe that it had to be abandoned in space and may have been damaged beyond repair. The fourth most advanced ship was the USS Apollo, which ranked above the Tzu because it carried several major upgrades and special systems that made it much more powerful, both offensively and strategically. Like other advanced BC-304s, the Apollo had the advanced Asgardian systems. However, what truly made the Apollo more advanced was the addition of the Asgard Power Core and the Horizon weapons platform. The Asgard Power Core was one of the most sophisticated energy systems ever created and gave the ship access to enormous amounts of power beyond the Nakoda generators. The Horizon weapons platform made the Apollo even more dangerous because it allowed the ship to deploy massive multi-gigaton Naquadra enhanced warheads from orbit. During the attack on the Asurans, the Apollo used the Horizon to wipe out an entire continent filled with replicator shipyards and Aurora-class battleships. But even though it lacked the ultra-advanced systems, the Apollo represented a major leap forward from the earlier and most standard BC-304 ships. Then next above it we have the USS Daedalus, which ranks above the USS Apollo in overall technological sophistication because while the Apollo had stronger offensive specialization through the Horizon weapons platform and the Asgard Power Core, the Daedalus carried several wider variety of advanced subsystems, including experimental technologies and integrated support systems. Like the others, it had the normal Asgard advanced systems and human weapons, but the Daedalus stood out because of its alternate reality drive, an incredible advanced system connected to interdimensional travel. It also possessed subspace capacitors and a full ZPM compatibility, which means it could directly interface with a zero-point module, the same nearly limitless ancient power source. This gave the Daedalus much greater potential energy capacity. Another reason the Daedalus was considered more advanced was because it had a bigger role in being the operational backbone of the Tauri fleet during the Pegasus campaigns. That means this ship served continuously on long-range intergalactic missions and thus became one of the most heavily field-tested Earth warships ever built. So on the second spot we have the George Hammond. This was considered one of the most advanced BC-304 battlecruisers ever built because it was an upgraded evolution of the design built from combat experience. From the moment it was constructed, the Hammond included major improvements to its structure, to its survivability and combat systems. It carried all of the Tauri and Asgard technology, as well as featuring full sensor suites, more powerful railguns and a heavier, more durable hull. The ship had wider fighter bays for increased numbers of F-302s and improved reverse thrusters that allowed it to maneuver and land in tighter spaces. The Hammond also proved how advanced it was through combat operations in the Pegasus Galaxy and during the defense of Icarus Base. Then during the battle against the Queen Death Wraith fleet, the Hammond repeatedly fought while badly damaged, losing shield emitters, sustaining hull damage and even operating near total power failure. With its more powerful railguns, it managed to destroy the Wraith hive ship moments before total system collapse. These battles here show that the Hammond was one of the toughest warship in the Tauri fleet and one of the most advanced. And so obviously the most advanced is the BC-304 USS Odyssey, which was single-handedly the most advanced ship ever built because it combined nearly every major Tauri, Asgard and even ancient derived technology into one warship. After the destruction of the Prometheus, the Odyssey became Earth's flagship. Like the other advanced BC-304s, it already possessed the upgrades. However, the Odyssey also received Asgard's final and most advanced technological legacy before the extinction of their race. The ship was outfitted with a more powerful Asgard power core, a more complete Asgard computer core containing the entire knowledge of the Asgard civilization. It also had a ZPM compatibility and even a cloaking device of the ancients. The Odyssey additionally used the Naquadria fuel systems alongside the standard Naquadra generators. The Odyssey also proved its superiority repeatedly in combat and special operations across multiple galaxies. It fought against Ori warships, Wraith hive ships, Lucian Alliance fleets, replicator vessels and outbreaks, and even survived situations that would have destroyed almost any other Tauri vessel. Later, the ship survived even a 50-year time dilation event created using its Asgard power core and its ZPM together. And on another note, the cloaking device allowed it to sneak directly into enemy territory undetected, while the Asgard database aboard made it one of the most strategically valuable ships in existence. And so there you go, from the Prometheus, the BC-303, to the Odyssey, the most advanced BC-304s. Here is a list of the least of the most advanced Tauri vessels in existence in the Stargate universe. So with that, we come to the end of this video. Do hit the like button for support and also click that bell button for regular updates on new video uploads. Also subscribe to be a part of Legion Notebook. And so till the next time, take care, boys.